This is the calculator example from our 1-4 notes on composition of functions. So we're on the back page of those notes, and we are given two equations, an equation for G, an equation for F. So I have, I have G of X stored in Y1, and I have F of X stored in Y2. So I've already done that on my calculator here. So I'm going to graph those, and I'm going to do a zoom 6. And we have the line y equals x minus 3. That's our F. And then we have this down line, which is y equals negative 2x plus 8. That's my y. If I go to trace, right, and I have to go right to intersect my graph, and we can see that this cursor is on the line y1, which is our G. If I hit my up arrow, either the up or the down, I can see that the cursor has now jumped to the other line, and at the top of the window it tells me I'm now on y2. I'm going to go back to my equation editor, so back to y3, back to the equations, and I'm going to enter an equation for y3. And I'm going to make that y3 what is y2, right? So variables, y variables, function, y1, right, of, open parentheses, I'm sorry, that was y2. So variables, y variables, function, y2, open parentheses, I want to put y1 inside of that, so again variables, y variables, function, y1, and that is a function of x. So parentheses, close parentheses, and now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to change the style of this to thick. So I'm going to press enter until that gets thick. I messed over that. There it is. So when I graph, I should see a third function, which is the composition of the first two. So my y3 is what y2 was, which is f, of y1, which is g of x. So when I graph this, I see this thicker line. That is my composition of function. If I want to estimate the domain of that composition of function, I'm going to hit trace, and I want to make sure that I am not on y1 or y2. I want to be on y3. So I'm going to hit my either up or down arrow. It doesn't matter. Now I've jumped to y2, and then I'm going to go down one more time. So now I'm on y3, and I'm looking for the x's that give me y's. So obviously when x is 0, I don't have y, right? This is to the right of the y-axis, so my x's are bigger than 0. I'm going to go right, hitting my right arrow, until I reach a point where I get a y coordinate and my cursor should show up. So the first place where I get a y coordinate is when x is just a little over 4. So since I'm estimating from this graph, remember you're smarter than your calculator, I'm going to estimate that my domain for y3 is going to have a low x of some number about 4. Now I'm going to continue moving to the right until I reach the right end of that line. So on the bottom of my screen, I'm looking for where I run out of y's. So the first x where I don't have a y is when x is just barely over 7. So I'm going to assume my domain ends somewhere around 7. So I would look for you to be able to do that and to estimate the domain from the graph on your calculator.